don't know who Dan Evans is, I'm going to show you a little video. Here's a trailer. Now, Dan Evans, we're going to talk to him in a second, but Dan is a British guy who has a TV documentary series, a travel doc series, where he explores places. And I'm in love with this. I was just shown him as well by Tristan Watson. Let me show you a trailer. This is Dan Evans. And we're going to have him on Skype in just a few minutes. But let's check out his work before we do that.
Join me, Daniel Evans, in a brand new 10-part series as I embark on a 250-mile walk. A walk that will take me from the tip to the toe of my home county of Norfolk.
So he's walking.
A brand new series, On the Trail, starts 24th of August,
Sorry about the volume. So he does these, you've seen these like PBS style travel documentaries, right? That's what he's trying to do, but there's something a little off. We're going to be calling him in just a second. I want to play one more here. We love this guy. Let's watch. This is his big video. Now, this has 151,000 views. This is the best of Norfolk, his hometown, part 1. Let's just watch a little bit of it, and then I'm going to get Dan on the Skype.
It's exactly 30 days from today that I leave to go to Alaska, Canada, and the western parts of the USA. And I can't wait.
This is, if you're not watching the video version of today's show, you're very stupid. YouTube.com/RedBarRadio. You gotta see this stuff to understand what we're doing.
I was brought up here. I went to school and college here. It was here that I got my very first buzz for broadcasting, and it was Norfolk that sparked some of my passion for geography.
So he's walking through fields.
In this 4-part series, join me, Daniel Evans, to celebrate some aspects of Norfolk that make this county like no other.
We're just watching a little of this Welcome to Norfolk video.
Where do I start, though? There are so many aspects of this county that really are absolutely great. I said that Norfolk sparked some of my passion for geography, and it's true.
Showing you the ocean, he's showing you the beauty. And this is all shot in 4:3, which is a good change from the widescreen stuff we've been seeing in the
Over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been lucky enough to spend a large part of my time here on the coastline. Fieldwork is great, but so much more rewarding when you do it in your own county. I've lived alongside this coastline for close to 20 years, and I'm going to miss seeing it, filming it, measuring it, and yes, getting
So there was also a clip,
it.
And I wonder if we have it. So I wanted to show you this other thing too, because they do a cool thing with his, where they do a zoom in on his face, but I can't find it right now. Let's get Dan on the Skype right now, and let's pray he picks up. We're giving him a ring right now. Dan Evans.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, Dan. It's an honor to have you here.
It's brilliant to be here.
What's that?
It's brilliant to be here.
Wow. It is, I just was introduced to you last week. And I was blown away, as you probably have heard many people say to you. We haven't seen anything like you before. We've seen these PBS style, in America, PBS style travel documentaries. We've seen those before, but none of them have a personality behind them, such as yourself. And you've seen this, you've seen the internet kind of go nuts for you since you started your On the Trail travel doc series. And so you probably understand how people like me are kind of fascinated with you as a personality more than your travel doc.
Absolutely. It's been a journey ever since the beginning, really. Lots of people, especially in the last year, have really tuned in to TVGeog, really got the sense of what I'm doing.
Which is your YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel is called TVGeog, short for geography.
That's the one, yeah.
And you have this positivity that we haven't seen, especially around YouTube. You know, when you're watching YouTube videos, you're getting somebody that is into the fame more than anything else. And I think why you're getting such a crazy response is because you're not like your average YouTube personality. You seem to be passionate about the content, and you're nodding your head yes, like I'm spot on here.
Absolutely. I mean, the fame is something else. I'm not doing it for the fame. I'm doing it because I have a passion for the landscape, especially for Norfolk, but also wider afield. You know, I've got a passion for the world and for the planet.
So let's talk about Norfolk. You're from a town. Where's Norfolk? What's Norfolk? I've never even heard of it until your travel doc.
Well, if you picture the UK, Norfolk is the most easterly county. In America, we have states. In England, we have counties, and you would say in America that Norfolk would be the most easterly state. And it really is something very, very different to most of England. It's a very laid-back county, full of countryside, full of, you know, rolling hills and things. And these are the kind of things you see on my TVGeog channel. It's actually one of the places that I love to go back to, especially in the holiday season right now.
Give me 3 reasons why Norfolk is a great place.
Well, firstly, I've already said it, it's laid back. In the hustle and bustle of the city, the hustle and bustle of the towns, no matter where you are, what you are, you know that Norfolk can be a place you can relax in. I mean, that's number one. Number two, really, is that the fact that you have so much to do here. You've got such a wide variety of things to do. Things like going on the Broads, lovely lakes in which to go and boating, perhaps to go walking around, cycling around and things. And the third reason I'd say Norfolk is brilliant is that it's one of the only places in England, perhaps one of the only places in Europe, perhaps in the world, where I've found a very deep connection with the country. Yeah.
Your video, The Best of Norfolk Part 1, has 153,000 views. How did this happen? And were you surprised? Do you like
absolutely.
the new? So you put this video out. What did you expect from this video? How many views did you expect?
You know, I put this video out on a whim. I was about to jet off to the United States about a week after, and this was like a homage to what I would miss about Norfolk. The Best of Norfolk was a 4-part series about the things I'd really miss from Norfolk County. And then once I got back, that's when the views started to soar, and you know, people.
Where did they come from? How did people pick up on this? Where did these views come from?
Well, we got a national radio station, Radio 1 from the BBC here. A DJ from there tweeted with the video to start off with, and then from that point, it went like a domino effect.
I went to your website, which is really nice. I want to show people this right now because there's a lot of information here on your website. Let me just pull this up. Geography with Dan, and I'm just going to show people a little bit of your website if you don't mind, because there is a lot of... Hold on, I'm having a little problem getting this on the screen here. Give me 1 sec, Dan. I apologize here.
That's all right.
Okay. Well, there it is. Geography with Dan. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Socrates. But, you know, I consider that a Dan Evans quote. Very nice site. A lot of information here. If people want to check this out while we're talking to you, this is geographywithdan.blogspot.com. And I encourage people to go check that out while we talk to Dan. And let me find, where the hell is Dan now? Hold on, Dan. Sorry, we're just getting you back on the screen. Thanks for being patient with us. We're having a little problem with our second monitor today. And I don't know where the hell your little face went.
I'm in there somewhere.
You're in here somewhere, definitely. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. I'm panicking right now, Dan, because I really don't. Oh, you know what? You probably went right there. There you are. Okay. So let me get back, because I have a lot of questions for you. Okay. Not, Norfolk is a beautiful place. But I watched some other interviews with you, and I didn't want to ask questions that people have already heard from you, because you've probably been asked a lot of the same questions. You seem to be one of these people who doesn't even get sick of hearing the same things over and over again. You seem to be a good sport about it. And you seem to bring that same passion with the same old questions. But I wanted to shake things up and ask you some new questions. So I went out there and I looked up all the stuff I could about you. And I found stuff that I didn't see people asking in other interviews. And if you don't mind, I'd like to start some of these questions. These are going to be a little random. Some of these were sent in. I asked our listeners, I said, do you know anything about Dan Evans? Because I had just found out about you. And I said, send in your Dan Evans questions. So they sent me stuff. First, it says here, the character Joffrey from Game of Thrones was actually based off you.
I did not know this. This is news to me.
No, this is true here. The internet is saying, the character Joffrey from Game of Thrones entirely based off you and your Travel Doc series.
That's amazing.
You've never heard that one. You've never heard that one before.
I never heard that one, but there might be some truth in it.
And okay, so let's go on. You never heard that one. It says here, your mom and dad are actually brother and sister.
No, that's not true. That's probably a result of the rumour that somehow all Norfolk people are inbred. But I can say after 22 years in the county, that is definitely not true. It's an old fable.
Okay. So that is not true. Your mom and dad are not brother and sister. When you were young, says here, when you were young, you were kidnapped and raised by kidnappers in the woods.
No, I can confirm that one as well. That's not true.
So we're 0 for 3.
I must admit, there's been many years of my childhood spent in woods, but not with kidnappers.
Okay, so you were never raised by kidnappers. And right here, it says Dan Evans' origin story. Dan Evans was born deformed. He lived with his mother in Norfolk. Dan was bullied incessantly until in 1957, he tried to prove to the bullies that he could swim, but drowned in a lake in Norfolk. 1 year later, 2 of Norfolk's residents were murdered, and the town of Norfolk was locked down. Future attempts to reopen the city were plagued with problems, including poisoned water and unexplained fires. In 1980, a new mayor planned to reopen the city, but ultimately all but one of the new residents were murdered. Dan Evans was never convicted of these murders, but legend has it Dan still lurks the woods of Norfolk looking for revenge. Is there any truth to this?
Oh, I have to think about that one. No, I can say that's definitely not true. I mean, I was born in 93, so all this in the 50s and the 80s, definitely not true. And I don't have a revenge streak about me. I'm one of those who can forgive and forget.
This is, a lot of people are saying when you watch your videos, you have these shots, you're setting up the camera by yourself for some of these shots, and then you're walking through. But, it doesn't seem like you're dressed properly to be walking through some of these landscapes. You're wearing, city clothes, and you're walking, and it does look very, almost like a killing just took place, and you're walking back from the murder site through the woods, and we're peering at you as a witness to it all. And if you happen to see that we've seen you, we might get our throats cut. Is there any... Are you? My question, let me rephrase. My question is, are you a murderer? Have you killed?
Definitely not. I know. There's nothing further from my mind, really.
So let me ask you this. If you're not a murderer, you've never killed anyone, right?
Definitely not killed anyone, no.
So why do you look like a murderer? Why are people going, this is a murderer? He's fucking killed people. This guy, he kills people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's news. News to me as well. It's interesting because a lot of people have talked about some of the clothing, some of the kinds of scenes and shots that I've done, but it's never really connected to a murder mystery or something like that. It's quite, I don't know, maybe the BBC will get me on one of their crime programs.
You have such a positive spirit. Nothing throws you. Do you ever get upset? You know, we watched your blooper reel, you know, and I might have to play this later, but we watched your blooper reel and you seem such like a happy, positive person. But then there are these little instances where you see a rage behind your eyes and a rage behind your smile that looks like it's just, it's about to come out and somebody's going to get hurt. Do you feel like you're holding in a rage?
No, definitely not. I think the only reason why perhaps sometimes on the camera my thing is because I am on my own. Sometimes the camera falls down or sometimes the mic will fall down or it's windy and I get a bit agitated. And that's only because I want to produce a quality video and sometimes it doesn't go quite the way I wanted and I'm on a deadline. It sometimes, yeah, it is annoying. But no, in terms of inner rage, I don't have any of it. You know, the county is too lovely to have a rage.
What's the biggest lie you've ever told?
I think the biggest lie, have I told? I must, you know, I think everyone tells lies. I think the lie I told myself earlier on when I was a small boy that perhaps, you know, all of this stuff on YouTube, perhaps all the stuff on TVGeog wasn't going to go anywhere. And I think there was a few years where I was a bit despondent. It wasn't going to happen. But, you know, that was a lie I told myself. I think now, looking back, it's been quite a journey.
You have a radio show, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Bandana.
What's it called? Bandana?
It was called Bandana. It ran a couple of years ago, just before I hit university.
Sure.
And it was a kind of 3-hour, you know, all singing, all dancing, chat show, great bands and great Dan. And that's why we called it Bandana.
I have a friend, a good friend of mine, the guy who showed me you. He used to listen to Bandana, the show that you used to do. And he said he texted into your show once. As a goof, he texted into your show Bandana and he said, will you play a Beyonce song called Love on Top? He texted you.
I remember it. I remember it.
You remember this. Now, right after he texted that to you, my friend texted you. He said, will you play Beyonce's Love on Top? He said you came back on the air and said this. There's a funny story about this next song, actually. I was once traveling on a train, and I was approached by a group of girls who came over to me and asked if I was Dan Evans, the geography guy. I said yes. They said they were big fans of the show, and they begged me to play this song next time I was on the air. It's Beyonce with Love on Top. And then you played the song that my friend happened to request right before. So, what's this story about these girls who met you? They were big fans. They asked you to play Beyonce. There's no way that you could have both been requested. So did you make up that story for the radio?
No, I do you know what? It's a couple of years ago, but I remember that story very well, in fact. But the kind of system I was having, I had a lot of texts, a lot of emails coming through at the time, and it was because it was only me doing it. I had to man the texts and the calls as well as present the show. But I remember that story. I received a text from a gentleman, I think, requesting Beyonce Love on Top. Funny enough, it was on that same week where I was on a train and I met 3 or 4 girls who was in front of me.
No one believes that, Dan. Dan, no one's believing that. The odds, the coincidence, the miracle that would have to come from God for those two things to have happened. I mean,
I must admit, there were some times when I was receiving requests for the same song 3 or 4 times a night, and sometimes I had to put by some, but sometimes I included some. But it is a coincidence. I would.
You're going to go with coincidence. Dan Evans, you're a brilliant man. I love you. We're going to keep watching you. We're going to keep following your career. What is coming next for Dan Evans?
Dan Evans is starting a very, very brand new production series with an external production team looking at the natural geography, if you like, of parts of the British Isles.
Great.
More information will become on Geography with Dan at blogspot.co.uk very, very soon. In fact, the whole website is going to have a real good old mishmash, and it's going to have a new layout and a new face.
I love talking to you, Dan. We hope to see you again. I want to add one more thing. You do know that everybody watches you for a joke, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
If people are having fun,
Thank God.
If people are having fun and they're enjoying themselves, that's what it's all about.
And you know that everybody's making fun of you and they think you're a creep.
That is part of what I have to get on with, part of what I have to react to.
I have nothing bad to say about you. You're a good man. You handled yourself great, and keep it up. We can't wait to see more, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Dan
Cheers.
Evans, everybody. Okay.